Good morning, Ken here with Ultralight, and today we're going to do a little different video. This is my public service announcement, I guess, because I always see on Facebook and other places about people who lost dive gear, and people are saying, well, did you have your name on it? Or you should have took pictures on your camera so people could look at things to try to figure out who it was. To me, those are all sloppy ways of doing things. The best way to do things is to engrave your name and telephone number on stuff. So I've got 3 good stories first with these items. I'll make it quick and then I'll show you what I do on all my dive gear. So this is a dive tracker. Basically you use 2 pieces. There's one on the boat and I carry one. It's kind of like an underwater sonar. I had a friend that used mine, and basically he had it for quite a while. He dropped it off the side of his boat. I wasn't on the boat, so I had no clue. About a year later, I get this call from a urchin diver off Anacapa Island that he found this thing and it had my telephone number and my name, which again is right here. Well, I didn't know what he was talking about because my friend never told me he lost it. I forgot my friend had this. So we met up and I said, what? Can you believe that that guy found this after a year underwater? And the only way he was able to return it was this. The guy also told me he finds lots of stuff with people's names, but if it has Ken on it, or Ken Colwitz, or John, or Dick, or Harry, who knows? How are you supposed to know who that belongs to? You really don't. So this was the first thing he was able to actually return because it had a telephone number on it. Oh, by the way, after a year in the water, this thing still worked. I sent it in the dive tracker. They did some work on it, and I still use it today. The other story is this spear gun. I've had this spear gun now for over 20 years. We were on the Peace diving. We did a dive at Johnson's Lee. My buddy found this spear gun, which is a really nice Scuba Pro spear gun, which now has my name and telephone number on it. It was nobody's on the boat. It had no markings on it. How are we supposed to tell who it was? So my buddy gave it to me and I use this all the time. By the way, here's another way to use ultralight products. This is great for vermilion and lingcod if you're hunting them, because as you're going, looking into the rocks and the holes, the light shines really good. I use this all the time. It works great. Oh, by the way, here's another label with my name and telephone number on it. The other quick story is this knife, which you'll see has my name and telephone number on it. One of my favorite wreck dives is the SM1, which is up towards Gaviota area, about 2-3 miles offshore. That's one of my favorite dives. I lost this knife. About a year later, I was back on that wreck doing a dive. I didn't take my camera, so I was putzing around, and up towards the very front, I looked down and I see this knife. Well, I didn't think anything of it. I picked the knife up, held on to it, got back to the boat. It was encrusted, but it's a titanium knife, so it cleans up good. One of the deckhands remembered that I lost my knife, and he actually looked and he said, you know what? That's your knife. So I found my own knife a year later, but the only way to really truly identify it was because it had my name and my telephone number on it. So what do I do with all my dive gear? Like I said, you make labels, name and telephone number. By the way, if you like, you can call this telephone number. It's my cell, and it actually is my business number for Channel Islands Dive Adventures. So if you want to go on a trip, call that number. We'll hook you up. You'll see that I have it on everything. These stickers have been on some of this stuff for probably 3 to 4 years, and they still look as good as new. I have it on here. Oh, and GoPros. Everybody loses GoPros. Why take pictures when you can put your name and number on the GoPro, on the housing, so when you find it and I lost it, you can say, oh, I don't know that guy, but there's a telephone number and I'll call him up. Works all the time. So Also, if you're on a live aboard dive boat or you're on a dive trip, You might want to think about doing all your accessories like chargers, batteries, anything, jackets, any kind of gear you have. You could also do this with snow equipment, golfing, fishing, whatever. Anything you might leave behind. My better jackets, all on the tag, have my name and my telephone number. Believe me, I've left some jackets behind without that, and I've never gotten them back. So this way too, if you're on a trip and there's a trip leader, they can say, oh, I know whose this is, and they get it to you. I actually mail stuff to people who leave things on trips that I do, if I can find the owner. But I have stuff that I've never found an owner for. Computers, regulators, all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. A BC. So anyways, mark your stuff. Name and telephone number. How do you mark your stuff? My favorite thing is this Brothers electronic label maker. These labels, you can make them as small or as big as you want. They last forever. If I can't do that, some of my parts like this and here, the soft stuff that you can't put a label on, I'll engrave. I'll do that over the paint pen. Sometimes you can engrave it and put the paint pen over and wipe it, so actually where it says my name, it would have some of the coloration in there. But those are the best ways to do your marking. Mark your fins, mark everything. It's better off to know whose it is when you leave it behind or lose it than to lose it and never get it back. And like I said, I've gotten stuff back before. I always try to return it. Hopefully everybody will do the same thing. So there's my public service announcement for the day, and I hope you enjoy the video.